This is the CLE Cabriolet, a brand new Mercedes-Benz crossover. That's right, I said crossover.
But it's very clearly not an SUV, so let me explain. See, nobody actually needs a convertible. They are the epitome of an impractical lifestyle choice, like buying an Aga or a pair of leather pants. They're never going to be a high-demand item. And a little while ago, somebody at Mercedes realised this and said, why do we sell so many different four-seat convertibles? Shouldn't we make like one? And that's exactly what they've done.
They took the best qualities of the C-Class, the E-Class and the S-Class convertibles and combined them into this, the CLE. C crossover. The sportiness of the C, the luxury of the S, and about the same size and price as the E.
Now that's a lot to ask from one car, right? But thankfully, this car is jam-packed full of technology to make it the most luxurious convertible ever, including fast roof. Now, let's see if I can get through the highlights on this spec sheet in the time that it takes the roof to lower. The front seats have an air scarf to warm your neck. It has wind deflectors front and back to keep the cabin calm at high speeds with the roof down. That's called air cap. The leather seats are coated to reflect infrared light and keep them cool if it's parked in the sun. And if the sun's bouncing off the infotainment screen when you're driving, you can tilt it electrically. It has AI, it has TikTok, it has Zoom calls, and it has the first rear head airbags ever fitted to a Mercedes convertible. The roof opened ages ago, didn't it? Oh, and the roof opens in 20 seconds.
We'll come to whether that stuff works or not in a moment. But of course, one of the most important things about a lifestyle-y convertible, especially one with a price starting at 53 grand, is how it looks.
Svelte, graceful, elegant, and all other words that basically mean classy. It's a lovely looking car, isn't it? Particularly with the roof down. And it's a stark contrast to the BMW 4 Series. It's very understated. A good example of that is here in the grille with this 3-point detailing. Still has a sense of discretion.
The creases on the bonnet and down the sides are subtle too, gently flowing along the car from either side of the LED headlights. You can get the roof in black, red or grey, but they refuse to sell you a red roof if you have a strong body colour.
And the sophistication continues at the rear with these tail lights that curve and flow into each other. And the back doesn't look too bulky, which is an issue quite often with two-door convertibles.
Inside, it's fair to say it's not quite as coherent. The screens are impressive, a 12.3-inch infotainment screen and an 11.9-inch driver display, but they look a little bit like they were added after the dashboard was designed. The quality is mostly outstanding though. Lovely surfacing on the dashboard, interior lighting is on point, and it's very nice to have some physical buttons just below the screen, but the build quality is a little bit suspect.
I'll tell you what else I'm satisfied with. It's really easy to get into, much easier than SUV when you got the roof down. Yeah, I mean, legroom isn't the best, but actually this car has 14mm more legroom, 22mm more shoulder room, and 17mm more elbow room than the C-Class Cabriolet. The rear bench splits and the boot has a pretty big floor area. With the roof up, it's 385 litres large, more space than a Ford Focus's boot. Roof down, there's 295 litres. Enough for a golf bag, according to Mercedes. No idea how big a golf bag is, but it should fit in there. Before we carry on, a quick recommendation. Now, if you like podcasts and you want one where we take really interesting celebrities on a route unique to their story, I have something right up your street. Hosted by yours truly, the Auto Trader podcast, A Show on the Road, is back for its second series. And that is where we take celebrities out of the studio and into a car. And we have some amazing guests like Billy Munger, Zara McDermott, and Ollie Murs. Listen to it wherever you find your podcasts usually, and you can watch exclusive footage of it on our dedicated new YouTube channel. Check it out on the link below. Hi!
Nice to see you. Mind if I hop in? This thing's got no grip, no power. I'd still win.
House every weekend. You know that one?
Oh wow, lovely car. Rascal colour. Just saying it would take me a couple laps. I'm trying to look humble, right?
Up front is really accommodating. Very comfy seats, nice low sporty driving position that adjusts to any size of human. Now I've deliberately started with the roof up just so I can see how quiet it is. It's multi-layered for maximum insulation. And I have to say, this is every bit as refined as the CLE Coupe. The only difference that you'll notice is the lower roof line, and only really then if you're on the taller side. Interestingly, Mercedes has the air cap system, which puts wind deflectors both on the windscreen and behind the rear seats to send the air up and over smoothly over your head, but they create noise. So Mercedes put the car into a wind tunnel with microphones on the windscreen and on a dummy in the driver's seat, and then sculpted everything around it for minimal noise impact. But has it worked? So we already know that the roof will drop in 20 seconds, but what I didn't tell you is that we can do it up to speeds of 37 miles an hour, which is great because it means you don't usually have to stop. Well, it's not particularly loud. It does have a kind of weird whistling sound every now and then that I'm not entirely sure about, but overall, it's not too bad. Okay, so it's a mixture of different Mercedes Cabriolets, but the main question is, what sort of character does it have? Is it a sporty convertible, like the C-Class, or a luxury convertible, more like the E-Class and the S-Class convertibles were? I mean, it can't be both, right? Well, I would say it definitely sits more on the luxury side. Every CLE comes with an AMG package of some sort, including lowered suspension by 15 millimeters. And the result is that it can then feel a little bit hard at low speed, but it's not too bad on most roads.
But, of course, a big part of the experience is determined by what's under the bonnet. Every engine comes with a mild hybrid system for a bit of electrical boost, and with the same 9-speed automatic gearbox. And there's quite a lot of choice, including a diesel. Remember those? If you want more than 50 miles per gallon from your drop-top CLE, that's the one for you. There's a 2-litre 4-cylinder petrol engine with 150 horsepower, which you can have with or without 4-wheel drive. The CLE 300 has the same engine, but with 40 more horsepower, although that's going to be a 30 miles per gallon car.
And if you're going to be skirting with 30 miles per gallon, you might as well be doing it in this one, right? The 450. Because this one has a 3-litre 6-cylinder turbo engine with 381 horsepower, plus the 21 from the electric motor. That's good for 0 to 62 miles an hour in 4.7 seconds. And the sort of soundtrack you want to hear in a car like this. Better than a diesel, that's for sure. And with this engine, it obviously feels quick. And the gearbox is really smooth. You'd never know that it was shuffling between 9 gears.
You can work this through the sport modes, and if your car has optional damping, it'll tighten the suspension up to give you more feel. And although sport mode does sharpen up the car, quicker throttle responses gives you more control and better feeling of the grip around corners, there's always a sense that this thing prefers being driven gently. The engine is so quiet at low revs, roof up or down.
As with everything these days, the CLE has AI, and it will of course answer your most inane questions, and it brings automated comfort functions, so you can set it to heat the seats automatically on a cold day, for example. Let's give it a go. Hey, Mercedes?
How can I help?
Can you put the seat heater on, please?
Seat heating is turned on.
Thanks. Apparently it also has a romance function. Yep. Date night mode turns the interior lighting pink and plays sexy music. It's not weird at all. It's really grown on me. Initially, I thought it seemed a bit bland, maybe, but actually I think that's just because it is really comfortable and quite a calm drive. It handles very nicely. Feels compact. The steering is responsive, it's not skittish. I like it. And not only that, I even put the car seat and my toddler in the back yesterday and she loved it. So, you know, family crossover box ticked. The CLE really does do everything that the other Mercedes convertibles did, sort of. I mean, it's quite refined and it certainly looks lovely, just like the E and S-Class convertibles did. And it's not like you're losing out on the fun that you get from a smaller C-Class Cabriolet because they weren't that much fun to drive in the first place. So yeah, it's a decent all-rounder, just like any good crossover should be.